Things to know by heart.
There are a handful of things that all of us should have memorized to keep us safe and help us feel confident, no matter what situations we find ourselves in. So I made a handy-dandy worksheet to keep track of all the things I wanted to have memorized, and I want to share it with you. So grab a grown-up and we'll go through it together. Things to know by heart. First thing we should have memorized is my first name and my last name. Most of us know what our first names are because everyone calls us by our first name, but it's really important to also memorize our last name. Next is my address. Whatever place you live at or call home, that's the address you should have memorized. Usually an address will start with numbers and a street name. You might have an apartment number, but then you'll have a city, a state, and a zip code. That's an awful lot to memorize, so it's a good place to start with at least knowing the numbers and street name for your address. Next is my parents' or caregivers' first and last names. We all have people in our lives that take care of us, whether it's our parents, our grandparents, foster parents, cousins, aunts or uncles, friends of the family. Whoever it is that takes care of us, we want to have their first and last names memorized. We also want to know descriptions of our parents or caregivers. Descriptions are words that we use to describe what someone looks like. Are they tall or are they short? What color skin do they have? What color hair do they have? Is their hair long or short? Or do they have no hair at all? Do they have hair on their face like a beard or a mustache? Do they have glasses? What color eyes do they have? Do they have their nails painted or a lot of makeup on their face? Do they wear no makeup at all? What kind of clothes do they wear? Those are things that are helpful to describe what they look like. If someone needs to get a hold of your parent or caregiver, they can call them on a phone by using a phone number. If you live in the United States like I do, a phone number starts with 3 numbers, followed by another 3 numbers, followed by 4 numbers. That's a lot of numbers to memorize, so I recommend memorizing it in chunks. Now we're on to our family safe word. What is a family safe word? That's a word that only you and your family know. Usually it'll be something easy for you to remember, like sparkle, or gumball, or bumblebee. But it's a word that only you and your family know. You don't share it with anyone else. And a safe word is helpful because let's say you're at school and a grown-up comes that you don't know and they say, your parents sent me to take you home from school today. You can ask them, what's my family safe word? If they know what the safe word is, you know that they're a safe grown-up and you can go with them. But if they don't know your family safe word, you can say, you are not a safe grown-up, and you can go find a safe grown-up who can help you. So who is a safe grown-up? There's lots of safe grown-ups that we can talk about. First, there's a police officer. A police officer will have a badge on their chest. Sometimes their shirt and their pants will match and they'll both be black or navy blue. Sometimes their shirt might be white or light blue. Lots of times they'll have a belt on and it might have a walkie-talkie on the side. Sometimes they'll even be by their police car where it's got some lights on the top that can flash red and blue. There's also doctors. Lots of times doctors will be in a white lab coat. Maybe they'll have a stethoscope around their neck. They might be in really nice clothing like a button-down shirt or nice dress pants. Then we've got firefighters. Lots of times firefighters will be in a really big uniform with a big jacket. It might have some reflective tape on it and big pants. Their uniforms might be red or brown or tan. Sometimes they'll be in a really big helmet on their heads. And sometimes they're not in their full uniform, but they'll have their pants on with a t-shirt. Maybe the t-shirt is navy blue and it has a picture of a badge on the front. Then there's teachers and counselors. These are also safe grown-ups you can turn to. You might be asking yourself, what do I do if I'm in a situation where I don't see any of those types of grown-ups? If you're in a store, you can look for someone who looks like they work there. Maybe they're in a uniform that matches everybody else's, or they have a name badge on their shirt. You can also look for a grown-up that has kids with them. Lots of times those are other safe grown-ups you can turn to. So what do I do if I feel like I'm in danger? One thing I can do is find a safe grown-up to help me. But another thing I can do is dial 911. And what exactly is 911? 911 is an emergency number that I can call by dialing the numbers 911 on a phone. Here's what'll happen. Someone will answer, they'll ask you some questions, and then they'll send a safe grown-up to help you. 911 is there in case someone's in danger. Maybe you see that someone's choking, or they've fallen and hurt themselves, or you see that there's an accident that's happened, or a fire that's getting out of control, or if you just feel unsafe, you can dial 911. But there's something very important to understand. You don't ever dial 911 to be silly or make a joke. 911 is only there for emergencies. Now, that might seem like an awful lot to memorize, but you can do it little by little, kind of like how we do everything in life. We take things one step at a time.